We in the baseball media always look at the history of how a player got to Major League Baseball to celebrate how good they were. Now, this is a request for our good friend of the channel, Andrew Lippard. Andrew always comes up with great suggestions. Thank you a lot, Andrew. Sorry it was delayed a few days. I'm just out of hospital getting part of my toe amputated because of diabetic situation. But all I can say with Peter O'Brien, he stood strong on 2 feet for many years in Major League Baseball, and how we got there was an indication of how hard he worked to get there. Now, for the 1980s, he was probably one of the key first basemen that never played an all-star game, never played in the playoffs. But his consistency was that of a Tony Perez or a Justin Smoak, where he get you 20 homers, 80 RBIs, hit about 270, great defense at first base. Now, he played for the Rangers, the Indians, and Seattle between 82 and 93, and wouldn't have been caught in a numbers game in Seattle. He would have still played into the mid-1990s for the Ken Griffey squad. Now, born in Santa Monica, California, he was the youngest of 7 children of Jimmy and Janice O'Brien. Now, raised in Pebble Beach, Monterey area of California's Central Coast, he graduated from Carmel High School in 1976. Now, he was neither drafted nor offered a scholarship out of high school, so he decided to play a year at Monterey Peninsula College and then transferred to University of Nebraska in Lincoln, which was then in the Big 8 Conference. After his junior season in 1979, the Rangers took a flyer on him, taking him in the 15th round, 381st overall of the amateur draft by the Rangers. Now, he had a good minor league career and eventually made his major league debut with the Rangers in September 82 at age 24 and won the starting job in 83. Now, he put up really dynamite numbers for the Rangers over those seasons, and like I said, Tony Perez numbers, getting 20 home runs, 90 RBIs, 80 RBIs, 150, 160 hits. And again, what and traded him to the Cleveland Indians in a multiplayer deal for Julio Franco, which didn't really work out for the Rangers. Now, he spent the 89 season with Cleveland, and this almost killed his career because he wasn't a good fit in the big city. However, in December of 89, he made Major League Baseball history by being the first free agent signed by the new ownership group of the Seattle Mariners, headed by Jeff Smulyan. Now, the Mariners had the lowest payroll in the majors the previous season at $7.6 million, but the Mariners decided to give O'Brien that same amount of money for the next 4 years. So technically, he was getting the whole team's payroll over 4 years with his first signee with Seattle. Now, again, known for his tremendous defense, he took over as the regular first baseman for Alvin Davis, who was good power but bad on defense, and Davis became the DH. Now, in his final year of his contract in 1993 at age 35, he was primarily a designated hitter, as Tino Martinez had taken over at first base. However, forewarned by new manager Lou Piniella, the well-liked veteran was released on July 21st to make room on the roster for the returning Edgar Martinez. Now, we thought O'Brien was going to end up with maybe a Canadian team or one of the ALS squads, but it never happened. Now, in a 12-season career and 1,567 games played, he had a great statistics, 261 batting average, 169 home runs, and 736 RBIs. His best season highs were 290 and 86, and 23 homers at 86 and 87, and of course the Tony Perez line, 92 and 85. Now, he also had a lot of respect off the field because of his efforts to shine a light of the dangers and the deadly ALS disease. Now, the fathers of O'Brien and, of course, the great Kent Herbeck from the two-time world champion Minnesota were afflicted with ALS, and while their sons were playing in the major leagues. Now, he spent most of his time with Kent and other supporters shining a light on what is called Lou Gehrig's disease and how it's an impact a lot of players, like in Canada with Tony Proudfoot and Dwight Clark recently with the 49ers. Very virulent disease. Now, I consider Peter O'Brien one of the most important first basemen of the 1980s. I watched a lot of games he played against the Blue Jays, especially in the mid-1980s. And there was talk at one time that O'Brien was on Toronto's radar in their 85 playoff run, and the 87 playoff run. I think O'Brien would have been a good fit with Toronto. I think one of the biggest mistakes of the 1980s was not to try O'Brien. They could have put him at DH, first base. I know that Toronto was loaded in the infield and the outfield in DH, but I still think O'Brien was one of the most unheralded and the most respected players of his era, because he went out there, he did his job, and what he did for Seattle, he brought Seattle to a next level because he filled holes that Seattle had in the lineup, and eventually they became a playoff team, and O'Brien built that foundation. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Mr. Lippert. Andrew's a big supporter. He's always coming up with good ideas. If you have a comment, or requests, don't forget to share. We really want to hear from you. And again, sorry about being in hospital lately, but as any diabetic can tell you, sometimes bad things can happen in normal situations. Losing an appendage is not losing your life, and the good doctors at Chalmers in Frankton, New Brunswick did well. I think I had 35 nurses and 5 doctors looking after me. And as we like to say in Canada, no charge. The only charge was I had 3 operations over 9 days, and I'm an extramural. And they allowed me to podcast from Chalmers, so we took our podcast channel on the road in the capital of the great province of New Brunswick. So as we like to say in northern New Brunswick, keep your feet on the ground, keep your eyes on the stars, and always, always, always have a good time. We're not here for a long time, so have a good time. Thanks for listening. Bye.